How are we doing all? Welcome in. Welcome in, Pi. Welcome in, send it. So yeah, we will be kicking off the qualifying session in about 25 minutes. There is still spaces left in the session if anyone does want to join. Session details are Fine Motorsport, Watkins Glen GT. It's GT3 only race, got 45 minutes of practice followed by 15 minutes of quali, followed by 60 minutes of racing here at the Glen. Anyone wanting to come and join the Discord link is in the description of this event. You can come and say hi, come join the voice chat now if you'd like to. Yeah, currently following Daniel Almiron, who's setting 1:43.6s. So we've already got people early on into this practice session doing 1:43 mids. Friday session we were seeing people getting into the high 1:42s. I think track conditions are slightly different today. We've gone with a sort of pre-generated track conditions rather than fixed to that. I'm doing Corey, welcome in, mate. Track conditions got 22 degrees temperature, back temp 27 degrees. We have got 0% chance of rain, but it is very humid out here today. How are we doing, George? Welcome in, mate. Thanks for the gifts. Cheers for the dailies. As Daniel Almiron in the Ferrari 296 does take that P1 spot with the 1:43.5. So 10th quicker than his previous. Also 10th quicker than P2's Demetrius. Also running the Ferrari 296. We've seen this pretty strong through all 3 rounds of Watkins Glen that we've been doing over the last couple of days. How are we doing, Factis? Welcome in, mate. How many attended? So we've got 25, almost 25 people in the session so far. I did see you join earlier. Are you going to be racing with us today, or? Yeah, currently following the leader. Yeah, say 1:43.5, so expecting to see slightly quicker times as we get into qualifying. This is a new format for a lot of the drivers who are used to doing sort of solo qualifying sessions at the moment, where we are jumping into these open qualies. Makes it a little bit more difficult to sort of navigate traffic and find that lap time. Should just watching the darts. Awesome. I don't know if you have noticed as well, but the stream quality, I think it's got much better since moving on to a single screen for these broadcasts. Able to run the sim absolutely maxed out, which gives us the best sort of broadcast experience, I think. Cheers, Factors. Cheers. Take care, mate. still got half the grid still yet to put in any lap times. I think that's why we are putting on these 45-minute practice sessions before the events, just to give people a chance to become familiar with the track. A lot of people go weeks without driving a certain track due to the way that the official schedules work on Iracing. So we do have a 1200 iRating requirement in order to join this race. It's going to be the same format as before, so we've got 45 minutes practice followed by 15 quali, followed by an hour's race with a mandatory pit stop. So this is one of the sort of IMSA fuel load that you would see in a typical IMSA event. Fully stewarded race as well. Stewards taking an eye on what's going on around the track and issuing penalties, safety cars and yellow flags where necessary. How we doing, Noah? Welcome in, mate. So this isn't a league at the moment, this is just our round 3 of Watkins Glen this week that we're doing an open hosted and broadcasted. Please join the Discord. It's just a way to get people into the refined motorsport sessions, but yeah, we are planning on running a league in the near future. But yeah, it's just a way for you guys to come and see what it's like here, sort of stuff that we plan on doing going forwards. Currently working on some new graphics and overlays as well, which will be replacing my overlay which you're seeing on the screen at the moment. Hoping to have that done by the some point next week. Should definitely mix things up a little bit. Logan, we're currently in a practice session. We're going to be going into quali in about 18 minutes. Feel free to come and join. There's still plenty of time to join. There's a maximum of 60 cars on the grid. We're currently at 25. It's an open lobby. If you search for Refined Motorsport and hosted, you'll find the session to join. We have got a 1 hour race coming up very shortly in about 18 minutes time. We'll be jumping into 15 minutes of open qualifying first. GT3s only. With the IMSA car setups for these. Awesome, you're more than welcome, mate. So Daniel Almiron still yet to beat his previous, which is a 1:43.5. Jens van der Wiel currently in the pits, looking to make an impression today as well. We had a bit of a chat before the stream. I think he's looking to perhaps go all out on this one. I think we've definitely seen what Jens is capable of throughout various sessions. But I think he's toning it back a little bit. Welcome back. Do you want me to unmute you now? Yeah, I'll mute you on the stream.
Okay.
So yeah, just coming up to the 15 minutes to go marker on the practice session. Like I say, there's still spots left for everybody in the stream that wants to come and join. If you search for Refined Motorsport in the hosted sessions, you will find it. Let me just
Looks like we've got a pretty healthy turnout for this one.
Yeah, I had to post it nice and early today, so session name is Refined Motorsport, yes slogan, and it is just GT3. So yeah, slightly different conditions today. slightly warmer than what we've had over the past 2 sessions. What is this now? Round 3 of Watkins?
Yeah, it's round 3. Yeah, track temp's a bit higher, you know, coming up to about 27 degrees. A few degrees higher than what we've been having in the previous sessions. Reflected slightly in kind of what we're seeing in the times. No one's got quite into the low 43s like we were seeing before.
Yes, I think for the past 3 events, the fastest we saw was a 142.942, set by a 4.5k driver. What I'll do is I'll also stream this into... Does that work for you, if I do that?
1 second. Yeah.
Cool. Which might give you a better idea as to what I'm looking at.
Yep. We've got a few familiar names. Sorry, I think I remember Koi being here previously. Obviously, the people from Refined and other communities as well. So Jens, George with his Apex Bandit, he's in here. Charlie O'Kane as well.
Yes, there was quite a lot of support from Charlie O'Kane throughout the stream the other day as well. So both TikTok and Twitch. Koi, I believe, is somebody from Grid Up, isn't he? I think he was in yesterday's Grid Up.
Actually, yeah, that's where I'm remembering that name. And we also have Levi from Grid Up.
So yeah, busy session. How doing, Koi? Welcome in, mate. How are doing, Martin? It is you indeed. So yeah, a lot of people opting for the Ferrari 296, and I think that could be a reflection, especially some of the people that have been part of these last couple of races, based on the lap times that we were seeing over the last couple of sessions. Most of these being set in the Ferrari 296 or the McLaren 720S.
Yeah, I think at the moment, those are 2 of the strongest cars with the current BOP. Obviously, it changes per track, so it's not always the case. You tend to find kind of like the street circuits, the Lamborghini always makes a reappearance. But for here, I think, yeah, Ferrari, McLaren, those are some good choices. Mustang's got some good straight line grunt.
Yeah, I didn't really kind of get a chance to see how well the Porsche really fares over the course of a lap yesterday.
No.
Fortunately, it really didn't go my way with technical issues. I had Iracing crashing before we jumped on the grid. I also had issues with Moser, lost the rear end, had damage. I was 2 laps down, retired from the race quite early. But yeah, it's kind of one of those where I was kind of interested to see how well the Porsche was going to do. Give me an indication as to perhaps how well I'll perform at IMSA next week as we go into season 3 of the iRacing calendar.
Well, that's if you still have a wheel.
Yeah, I'm still waiting to hear back from Moser. You know how it is with some of these companies taking their time to actually make things happen, but see how it goes. How are we doing, Ace? Welcome into the chat, mate.
Oh, I think we have Andrew Fabian joining as well. Team manager.
Another Grid Up
team.
Yeah, still yet to go out on track, I don't think.
I think he's only just joined. We'll see whether he's coming out. I didn't know whether he was going to do this race. It'd be nice to see him out there.
Tell you what, this is much easier for me to see everything running iRacing on a single monitor for a change. Also feels kind of weird. I think one of the great things about this for the broadcast is we're able to run iRacing absolutely maxed out, so you get that real sort of broadcast experience as well, which is quite nice. Thanks
Yeah,
for
the triple
liking the live
monitor
ace.
does impact performance a little bit.
Yeah, especially these monitors being run at 2K per monitor as well. That's a hell of a lot of pixels.
Yeah. You should try mine, mate.
Oh yeah, you're running like an extra, pretty much it works up probably like an extra screen, doesn't it?
Yeah, my resolution is 10320 by 1440 on Iracing. So over 10,000
Yeah,
pixels.
I think I'm at 7K width resolution. As we're just looking back at the leaderboards, Sona Demetrius has again just taken that P1 from Daniel Almiron with the 1:43.4. So again, 10th quicker, slowly finding the lap times throughout this practice session. Just looking at the track temperature, which currently at 27 degrees. So we've got about 6 or 7 degrees hotter than what we had on Friday.
Yeah, that will have an impact on those lap times. We're not quite seeing quite the level of lap times we were having on the previous sessions. But we'll see also how that evolves throughout the race.
Well,
you know, it's quite in game time. We're at 8:36, so it's getting. Oh, sorry, that's real time. 5:25 p.m. sim time, so it will probably might start cooling down near the end of the race.
So we just jump on board with George Ward, still yet to set a time. Made massive improvements over the last 2 rounds. I think he started off on a 1:49 first time here at Watkins Glen, into round 2 where he was hitting those 1:45s quite comfortably. Still yet to see him set a lap time, as he's weaving down the start-finish straight there. Maybe generate some temperature in the tyres as he just dives out of the exit of turn 1 and gets that off track. So again, this could be an invalid lap for George Ward.
Interested to see him making the switch over to Ferrari. We'll see whether that helps him. I think he was driving, was it BMW before?
Yeah, so he bought the BMW pre-week 13. I think he was just looking for something new to drive. And again, this goes back to what I was saying before about, I think a lot of people are sort of seeing that the Ferrari and the McLarens have pace here, and that's sort of the go-to car that they're opting for.
Yeah, I don't think it's like a massive gap between all the cars, but what you tend to find is as soon as people realize that there is a car that might just be like a tenth faster, it makes the lobbies look like the balance of performance isn't there because everyone just picks that car. Like some of the races that I was having at Road America were pretty much 100% Ferraris, and I was driving the McLaren, and realistically the McLaren was not very far off the pace. I was able to compete in the McLaren, but just because people had seen that the Ferrari was the car that all the pros were picking, you end up just finding that the lobbies fill up with Ferraris.
Yeah, I think that's something I'd really like to kind of see come to iRacing to some degree, and I don't know how or the sort of means that they go about doing this, but having a sort of set car for a season where you choose the car you want to drive, that's the only car you're allowed to drive for that specific series.
Interesting one there is George locks up. I have a feeling he has forgotten to turn his ABS on.
Yeah, I think something that I sort of picked up after you mentioned it to me yesterday after driving GT3 for the first time since the update is the new traction control that's been applied to these GT3 cars. It can be a bit misleading, a bit challenging to sort of work with.
Yeah, it's odd. You have to basically run very low traction control or maybe traction control off, dependent on the car. And once the tyres are up to temperature, you know, you kind of just pin the throttle and then rotate the car with the throttle. As I found out yesterday, when you're coming out the pits on cold tyres, you might want to be a bit careful. It kind of lures you to this sense of security that you can just find your foot. I came out the pits in the race yesterday, flat out, foot to the floor, and as I just turned the pit limiter off, and the car immediately pirouetted as soon as I turned that pit limiter off into the wall. Luckily, I got away with minor damage and was still able to pull out a lead, but yeah, an interesting learning experience for me yesterday on that.
Yeah, I think one of the challenges I found was essentially traction control was kicking in at like 20% throttle, especially when coming up the hill as well, where you think the car would be a little bit more sort of planted. It makes sense going over a crest, but yeah, I was just finding that even on the sort of 3.3 traction control and ABS that you would usually run for most sort of big setups, that it was just constantly spending time in the traction control.
Yeah, basically the solution is run less traction control. If you have setups from last season, they should still be pretty valid. Maybe some of the setup shops might make some tweaks, but you'll probably be looking at using the same setup and just lowering that traction control right down to either off or minimum. I'm not sure whether that's the case for all cars, but certainly Ferrari, McLaren and all them, that's what they'll be looking at doing.
Yeah, kind of got me interested to know how the Mercedes AMG is going to behave with that sort of reverse traction control now. Is that like running that on 12, do we think?
Is 12 the lowest?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it caught me off guard for a few days until I sort of realised back on the old sort of traction control model is that TC and ABS on the Mercedes is reversed. So 12-12 would be essentially 1-1 in most of the other GT3 cars.
They just wanted to make your life difficult, really.
So we've got 3 minutes left of this session. If you guys want to come and watch the broadcast, it's over on Refine Motorsport on Twitch. We are broadcasting this with live commentary as well. Feel free to come drop me a follow over there. You can also jump into the Discord. We might even think about doing some interviews with the drivers as well. Discord link is inside of the description of this session if you want to come and join over there. Like I say, we've got 15 minutes of open qualifying to happen after this practice session, followed by a 1 hour race with a mandatory pit stop. We're going to be doing full stewarded races as well, so we'll be bringing out safety cars, yellow flags, issuing penalties where necessary as well.
Hello everyone, I will be the person who is probably going to be annoying most of you with penalties, race control and things like that. I'll be looking at the incidents. If anything does happen and you want me to look at it, I will try and spot it myself, but feel free to try and bring it up. Also on another note, Leon, I did just see that kind of intent threat. I'm not going to do anything this is practice. Please don't do that in the race.
Who's this? Sorry, Leon
Lambrecht was behind, coming up to a slower car. He's a 5k driver, so he's quite fast. Went into the back of them, and then well, the guy turned in on him, and he got a bit annoyed and just decided to take the other guy out. So it's practice. It's an unofficial practice. I'm assuming that, you know, it's not great, but I'm not going to do anything about that yet. Just a little bit of a warning. Might keep an eye on it.
Yeah. So we just watched Charlie O'Kane brush in the wall there as he comes into the last sector. I'm not sure. Oh, there we go again. It's kind of a little bit difficult to sort of manage the exits to some of these corners because they're so fast and sweeping that you obviously want to focus on trying to get the best exit possible. But if you don't have the grip, it just sort of pushes you out, and you're almost watching the wall come at you in slow motion.
Yeah, very much so. Especially kind of turn 9 and turn 11, which is the last corner. Turn 9, it kind of comes up over a crest, and it's quite easy just to lose the rear end as you kind of get that lifting off effect as you come over the hill. And then, yeah, the last corner, it's really important to get that line. You can get a lot of time by being really committed into that, but if you get it wrong and the car just starts understeering, that wall on the exit will bite. You've got to really be careful of that. Leon disconnected, so I don't have to watch him anyway.
Yeah, thanks for that insight. I mean, I would have loved being able to share that with you myself, but like I say, I only put in about 3 and a bit laps yesterday before DQing from the or DNFing from the race. We watched Charlie O'Kane here trying to navigate a bit of traffic, watching that Porsche go defensive in practice. But yeah, we're coming up to the last sort of 10 seconds of practice now. Jumping into quali straight after a small warm-up session.
I think that Porsche may have been the one that got his pen wrecked for possibly blocking the faster driver. So we'll have to take a look at that. In practice, I don't really see much point in him defending, but you know, it is what it is. I'm not going to waste time trying to steward a practice session.
Yep. One thing I will say just for your side, Jacob, is if you can manage the yellow flags and penalties and all that, because I found a way to hide the UI. And I can't bring it back unless I close Iracing down. But okay, yes, that concludes 45 minutes practice at Watkins. It's going to be round 3 of round 4. We're going to be doing one more session tomorrow, but we are going to jump into 15 minutes of quali. Still yet to see 142s on the board today, and again, just going back to what you mentioned earlier during practice, is again, I think that's just down to the conditions and the weather. That track temperature is dropping now. It's dropped down to 24 degrees from 27.
Yeah, so start to maybe get some faster lap times in qualifying now.
As we do start seeing the crowd of GT3s crawling out of the pits, warming up the tyres for this open qualifying session. So yeah, I think the format is, again, mentioned this before as well, but the format is different to your standard sort of IMSA race where you get 8 minutes or 2 laps of racing to try and set a qualifying time. We get about 4 laps out of a 15-minute quali, but it is open, which means that drivers will have to navigate the traffic, find a bit of clean air to be able to give it the best shot of setting a lap time. So we're just trying to find somebody to jump on board with. Not sure why, but Federico's just pulled over at the side of the road there. Could be a doesn't look like a black flag infringement, but could be realising maybe have the wrong setup on and gone for the race setup instead of the quali.
Possibly.
George Ward jumping out the pits in his first Watkins Glen session in the Ferrari 296. As he
that's gone well through it seems.
That will be a return to the pits from George Ward. And I was just about to say before he did lose the rear end on cold tyres there that it's been great to see George come a long way since he first started sim racing back in sort of late December as we came into the new year. I think that's when I sort of found his streams. He joined iRacing as a rookie, and I think in the last week or so he's finally managed to get a license and give some of the IMSA races a go. So yeah, all good experience for him to be involved in these sort of events.
As yes, we do have Andrew Fabian out on track, so he is racing in this race. It's good to see.
Now to Wilkes' question, That'll just be because we are still waiting to see some lap times on the board at the moment, so I think it just goes on who sort of leads the pit lane first.
We are seeing quite a few incidents just on outlaps here. An interesting one with Moritz Kroner spinning on cold tyres and taking out another driver, Derek Buckaloo, on his outlap. Moritz has decided that maybe he doesn't have the ability to do this race, as he then, when he went back to the pits, he tried to pull away from the pits and spun. And now his rage quit.
I mean, I don't want to be one to point. I don't want to be one to point fingers, but we have seen people spinning out of the pits over the last 24 hours.
Yeah, but I still won the race.
So I really shouldn't call you out like that. As we watch,
we can go on about that race.
We do watch Jens take P1, quickly taken away by Coy Plowman. He's just got it into the 144s now, 144.6. 4 tenths quicker than Jens van der Wilt. So now John Amaya goes quickest now, the 144.528. Also welcoming Ken Bracken into the session today. Again, stream that over on TikTok. He's regularly tuning into the Refined Motorsport broadcast as well, and the live streams that we do. Ken Bracken from Norway. Was interested in joining the previous session that we were on, but it was a little short notice for him. But yeah, great to see Ken Bracken joining us for the first time as well. Jens does go quickest.
One to watch. In terms of the few kind of high I-rating drivers that we have in here, we've got Antonio Papato, who is 5.4k I-rating. Leon Lambrecht, who, oh no, he is left after doing an intense practice. Bukran Avkul, I believe we have seen before. I'm not sure if he is out on track. He is a 4.7k driver. So we'll see whether he has stayed last time. I think he just joined for the practice.
Come on, man. You don't have to compete like that. Come on.
So here Jens already jumping on the blower.
I wouldn't call that impeding. That is, he's on his lap. Jens caught him.
We've definitely seen our fair share of Jens comms over the past couple of weeks.
Technically, it was a car on their outlap. Okay, so I would class that as impeding.
Logan is, I'm going to try and pronounce that last name. It's Logan clatters the wall. He was 1 second up on his lap as he clatters the wall coming out the final corner. Not ideal from Logan. As we let's take a quick track of Andrew Fabian in the grid up livery. A couple of people here in today's session representing grid up, or from the grid up community. Seems to be a lot of people that disconnected from this one.
I think a fair few people have disconnected, but there was 44 people, so I think we still have fairly healthy showing of drivers.
It's Walks and pops into the chat moment again. Does he ever not? Blue flag driver just getting out of the way there for Andrew, who looks to be on a flyer. He's 1/10 up on his previous best, which would put him into a P6 position if he keeps this lap together. Somehow just found another 3 temps in that first sector, running 0.4 seconds faster, which is going to set him up for a 1:44.2, puts him P5.
Yeah, that bus stop can be. It's one of those corners where sometimes you hit it just right and you see your delta fly up, and you're just like, oh, there's 0.3 of a second.
Yeah, I think we've seen from our previous races as well. We've seen a couple of people sort of battering that inside curb in the on the entry into bus stop and launching the car into the air, and it really does unsettle it. Trying to take that left-hander to sort of release yourself out the back end of the bus stop.
Yeah, you can take a lot of that inside curb. You just have to get the line right. If you get it a bit wrong, sometimes it can spit you out, and you got to be a bit careful.
Daniel Maggione trying to find that a little bit of slipstream there to hopefully improve his lap time. Currently running P2. I don't think he's got the pace in this lap to improve. He's got 2 tenths down on his first sector.
So Andrew, yeah, did manage to get that lap together for a 44.3, puts him up into P6.
I think Andrew's definitely going to be happy to see Jens sitting behind him on that grid if these are the final positions for the start of the race.
We do look, and I believe there has been an incident here with a car going very slowly through the bus stop, getting taken out. Wolfgang Stofgen driving into the back of them, just wasn't expecting the Corvette in front of him to be going that slow, so some people getting a bit annoyed. It's one of those, you know, people aren't, we said it in the previous sessions, people aren't used to these open qualifying sessions in iRacing, so you got to find a gap, and we're starting to get quite a few drivers out on track. It's getting busy out there, so you got to find your gap, find a bit of space on the track, get your lap in.
Yeah, again, a couple of these Wolfgangs that we're seeing, I think, are familiar faces. Wolfgang Stofgen is somebody who's been in these sessions previously. I think Wolfgang Bosen as well. We've seen
One of
here
the
in the
Wolfgangs
past.
won the first race, I can't remember which one.
Yeah, I feel like that was Stofgen with the 4.3k.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the format of going for the 1200 I rating requirement to join these sessions sort of just eliminates the sort of pure stupidity that we see. I mean, that's not to say that 1200 I rating drivers or even some of these top split drivers aren't going to do the same, but I think it just reduces some of that sort of recklessness that we've seen from round one.
Whilst I'm not actively, like, you know, doing penalties and things, I am keeping an eye on the incidents, and I'm not gonna lie, there is some stupidity already happening, so we'll see how this goes.
Yeah, I think we just be a little bit more sort of open to give penalties.
Yeah, definitely for the race.
Yeah.
To try and keep an eye on it all in qualifying is going to be quite difficult. I don't think I'm in a position to be able to do that at the moment. You know, I need to know who's on a lap, who's on a cool down lap, things like that, which I'm just not going to be able to actively do.
We'll get you set up with some stuff after this race, or at some point. Still been meaning to do that. As Wilksy says, should he race with his controller? I mean, there's a guy over at Grid Up that races with the controller. He's actually really bloody quick as well, considering.
Yeah, he's like 2.3, 2.4k, and I've had it where he's been able to put up a fight against me, and it's interesting racing someone on a controller. Like, you kind of sat there thinking, do I need to give this guy more room? But no, he's on it. Had some pretty good battles before. So.
Yep, so we've got 1 minute 30 left in this session, so people will be coming on to their final push laps in order to try and take that top spot. There's not really anybody out there at the moment that is on a fast lap. I mean, Wolfgang Busen is 4 tenths up. We follow on board with him as he's in the first sector already. We've also got Daniel Maggioni, previously at 144, sorry, at 143.6, who is also 4 tenths up, which would give him that first place position, as Pablo Ortiz goes first place down to 143.452. It turns out the reason why George Warren was spinning out the pits was he had the wrong setup on. He was running the Spa setup in that Ferrari 296. Honestly, George, I'd just recommend going for one of the fixed setups rather than chancing anything.
If he's running the Go setups, it's quite twitchy on the rear in the Ferrari. If I remember correctly, I drove Ferrari on the Spa.
As we hear somebody go off into... Whoa, that's not ideal.
Yeah, I just saw the start of that. I don't believe that's ended well.
Yeah, he kind of... There's nowhere really for him to go. Bounce back onto the track.
On his left lap.
Yo.
Right, let me do a quick announcement before
Just saw this and figured I'd
we
join in
crack
for
on.
fun, man.
How we doing all? So we're just about to jump into a 60-minute race with a mandatory pit stop. You come and check out the broadcast over at Refine Motorsport on Twitch. We have got live commentary over there. We have got live stewarding as well, with yellow flags and penalties issued where necessary. So we will be watching as best we can as many of the incidents and things that go on track as possible. We won't be able to catch everything, so if you do need us to review something, just holler at us over the radio and we'll take a look. But yeah, 60 minutes of racing. It's a full out lap behind the pace car with a double file start, a rolling start down to the start finish straight. There is unlimited fast repairs. We will be bringing out the safety car if it is needed, so damage not necessarily going to end your race. We've seen over the last 2 rounds people coming back from sort of last place up into the top 5, which has been pretty incredible to see. But we all are also planning on running round 4 tomorrow as well. For those that have been joining us for the last 3 sessions, we'll be running the same session again tomorrow at 4 as well. Sorry, at 8 PM UK time as well. Session details will be posted in Discord. Discord link is in the bio of the description of this session. All I'll ask is let's try and keep it clean. No intent wrecking. Intent wrecking will just be immediate disqualification without penalty. Keep it clean, have fun, and yeah, we'll see you on the other side. As we do just count down on the cool down, with the last couple of seconds to go before we jump to the grid. Have you got everything you need on your side?
Yes, I have my incident monitors up to try and spot as much as I can, and the camera set up to try and spot the turn 1 carnage.
So yeah, I've popped my stream into Discord if you need to see anything I'm looking at, if you want to look at anything else.
Yeah, I can see that on my other monitor as well.
As the cars are beginning to line up on the grid, as we look down through the last corner, down through to the turn 1 fast right-hander, where it's so easy to pick up an off-track down there. but we will switch to TV cam 1 just so we can see as much as we can. So starting off the grid, we have Wolfgang Stofgen
Don't you dare do me
in
dirty.
P1, followed by Pablo Ortiz, Daniel Almirion,
Andy,
Sona
fucking shut
Dimitras, Daniel Maggioni in P5, John Amaya in P6, Salvatore Rosso in P7,
Love
Alessandro
you, Andy.
Vannozzi P8, Federico
Mm-hmm.
Castellari in P9, and rounding out the first top 10, Antonio Propato, all within the 144s. Jens, any abuse over the radio will result in a time penalty.
I ain't fucking around with this shit. I'm gonna give you a stop.
You talking to Yen? You better stop. What's up?
Jens, if you abuse Andy on the radio, I'm giving you a stop-go penalty.
I'll shut up. Don't listen to him, Yen. Don't listen to Jacob.
Okay, so engines have all been started. We are rolling away from the start-finish line as we commence our full outlap behind the pace car. All the drivers looking to get some heat into the tyres, or the pace car dives into the pits and they jump into the run down into turn 1. But yeah, Wolfgang Stofgen, he won again. I think he did exactly the same in round 1 of Watkins Glen this week.
Let's all be a bit careful on the formation up. I don't want to have to stew with people crashing into each other trying to warm their tyres up, give people room.
As we hear Jacob on the radio telling them exactly what's what, and I think it is needed in these type of races where we have mixed I rating, different skill levels of drivers. It still baffles me why we see people having these incidents, especially when we're travelling at 60 kilometers an hour.
Causing a pile up on the formation of that season.
So if we look back down the field, there's a car of Andrew almost colliding with the back of that Lamborghini as they come out of the bus stop there.
What did I say, man? Come on.
I flicked to that as he came out. As Roxy says, they all need a slap.
I even warned everyone that there was still a massive check on the bus stop. Easy, guys. Come on.
So some names to point out. Like I say, Wolfgang Stofgen P1, put it on P1 during round 1. Pablo Ortiz was in round 1 as well. Finished P9, I believe, from my notes. We also have Coy Plowman over from Grid Up as well, who's part of the Watkins Glen 4-hour Grid Up League yesterday. We have Andrew Fabian again, another Grid Up driver, driving the Ferrari 296 in the Grid Up livery. We have Jens van der Wilt, again up-and-coming driver, has only had iRacing for a short period of time. But he's sort of finding his bearings a little bit. He's a very fast driver, but still sort of getting to grips with sort of racecraft, which has come a long way. George Ward as well, Apex Bandit 17 down at the back of the grid, P26, and Ken Backen as well, popular streamer. As we do just quickly jump back on up to the front with the leaders, as they give the pace car a little bit of a gap to pull in, and it's now up to Wolfgang as to when he puts his foot to the floor. Safety car is in, Wolfgang does go.
Green flag, green flag.
as Pablo and Daniel side by side in the background there. And I'm not sure what's going on with my overlay.
As they're
Let's
going
try and keep
four
track of
wide
this.
there, slight incident to turn one, there's something to take the front on, but everyone seems to be making it through so far.
So Daniel Almirion does take P2 away from Pablo down into turn 1. Has already started building up a bit of a gap. Wolfgang Stoffgen already almost a second ahead.
Caution, yellow flag.
And the yellow flag is out. We have an incident down into the fast section into the first sector.
Gonna make it through there just fine from somebody just full centered right through that.
So we do see Sona Dimitrios just passing under the yellow flags there. I'll just keep an eye on that.
So yeah, we have a major incident involving, I'm thinking, at least 10 cars in the S's.
That's funny, bro.
Yeah, that's going to take a bit of reviewing. Give me a sec to get my race control hat on, figure out what on earth has just happened.
Yep. I'll try and do my best to see what is going on down at the back.
Might be a good idea to rejoin on single file.
Yep, we're on it, just reviewing the incidents that happened during the first sector. Like I say, there is fast repairs. If anybody needs to box for damage, we will do wave arounds as well under the safety car. As we do watch a Porsche there of one of the drivers clattering the rear of the wall. I think he's just trying to bring that home. Levi Wolf.
I think he may have to total pits.
Yeah, I think he's got a bit of clear traffic behind, so he should be okay to rejoin us. How are we getting on with the reviews? As he his car is trash.
It all started between three wide battle between Jens, Johan Yara, and Alex Weaver. Alex Weaver put his nose into the back of another car, and that caused the spin as the pileup then occurs.
Right,
And
something
then
else
cars
has
go
just
flying.
happened. Yeah, I'm just trying to see what happened here.
This is kind of comical. There's like 10 cars
Hey,
just.
race control. I got a black flag for entering closed pits, even though like pit should be open.
Who was that again?
No, black flags will be open after the first safety car lap.
I think it's because they get damage.
Very nice.
Oh. Oh, that's Levi. Yeah, you can clear Levi's penalty. Right, is anyone like deliberately causing incidents here?
Not that I could see. No.
Okay.
Mate, open the pit train, mate.
As we do just look at a couple of cars that are in the pits, there's a lot of drivers.
Mate, black flag, mate. Give me black flag.
I think with that, I may just need to clear all black flags and then figure it out at the end.
Yeah, let's just do a / clear all. Sorry, exclamation mark clear all. Apparently, Lai Aslan killed Jens on the opening lap.
Did Jens survive the opening lap?
I think he's in the pits
No, he
at the
didn't.
moment. I think he towed.
Open the pit train, mate.
Someone needs to tell Antonio that the pit lane will open when it opens.
Antonio, you can come into the pits. We will clear the black flag.
Jacob, some guy just was while full caution. He just ran into the back of me. with like 200 kilometers per hour.
Yep, I have seen. Mellow. That is not going to be a small penalty for you. That's going to be a large penalty.
So again, just trying to keep track of what is going on through race control, as well as trying to bring you the actual live coverage of the race as well. So a lot of drivers are diving into the pits still, picking up those fast repairs. Have we decided on who should be a wave around versus not?
Not yet.
Okay, let's.
Give me 1 second.
Yep.
So
And now I just need to go and make a final review of what actually happened on lap 1.
stop and go, mate. You fucking ran into the bench with 200 kilometers per hour on a full caution, mate. You fucking cancelled this fucking race, mate.
Jens, my word is final.
I am.
Jens not being too happy there. So Alex Weaver, I am giving incident responsibility. It was... The
My
outcome
ticket
was
was fine.
rather large. It was a small incident that caused a spin, but then just, you know, everything else happened after. I could go through and look at who didn't slow down enough for the incident, but that's going to take about 2 years to figure that out with how many people crashed in that.
Yep, that's fine. We'll just make quick decisions, but hopefully they're relevant enough. Ken Bracken with a black flag. Do we know what happened to him?
Probably pit entry.
Okay, if you can clear all black flags, he's the only one left with a black flag as he's just rejoining the back of the pack. 14 seconds behind. If we can start doing the wave rounds now. Ken Poulin needs a wave round.
Yep, I'm just going to the live now. I've finished reviewing the incidents, and let's start looking at the wave rounds.
So Ken Poulin, David Kujat or Kujath, Alfredo.
1 second, I think I need to do it in order. So Ken is the first one in the queue.
Yep.
You.
I've got the order in right here.
Because for me, it's showing Eduardo is the next person to wave around.
Eduardo's on the same lap as the leader.
Yes, he is, sorry. That's me being stupid. So Ken, wave round.
So Ken Poulin. Green. Oh my god. We're actually going
How
green.
have we gone green?
I have no idea. Yeah, I think it just came in.
Well, okay.
Okay, well, I have no idea how that happened, but...
I didn't realise it was going green. Well, is what it is.
Yeah. Okay, I think I'm going to start trying to do those wave rounds, like, before we're looking at incidents. Yeah. Okay, so back under the way, green flags, safety car is in. All kind of stuff on. Again, pulling away, pulling Daniel Almerion and Pablo Ortiz down the road with him.
What the fuck is going on?
As there is another incident as Andrew is dropping down the back of the field. Lost out in about 4 or 5 places there after the green light. As there looks to be another incident down into the exit of bus stop as Andrew, I don't know if he's trying to avoid the car that just spun there on the exit, which you can just see gliding across the bottom of the screen. If we can clear black flag on Wolfson, by the way, Wolfgang Busen.
Yep, I'm on it.
As George Ward again getting swallowed up, but stays on that defensive inside line as we watch the Ferrari of Levi sorry, that's Miguel going around the outside. Steve Ambiotti is looking for that move as well. George Ward just sort of trying to avoid the incidents. I think trying to get to the end. I think he's realised that a lot of the positions can be made up just by consistency. Have a look on the other side. Is that fine? Okay, yeah.
Yep.
As Sam Baird goes side by side with Andrew and does take that position back from him. Sam Baird in the AMG Mercedes. Again, still side by side all the way through sector 1 as they come down into bus stop. But Andrew does have that inside line, so he should be able to defend from this.
By the way, I
he
think
speaks too
live.
soon.
Or-
It should be on Twitch. Yeah, we're still live.
No, it's in on your replay. I think we're a bit behind.
Are we? Oh jeez. Yeah, I don't know how that happened. Yeah, we're live. We're live. We're live.
It was only like 5 seconds or something.
Yeah, I think it's because of the replay mode.
Yep.
Yeah, still just kind of following this battle between Andrew and Sam Baird. Andrew
Yeah.
still looking for that sort of slipstream, I think, as we come up through the last corner down to the start-finish straight.
I do actually need to put some penalties out. In 1 second.
As Andrew does go to the outside line, Sam Baird does take the inside, goes defensive, but that should give Andrew the better run coming down this long sweeping right and left-hander. As Andrew goes to the outside, I think he's looking for a piece of that action now. Maybe the inside line doesn't work too well here anymore. And it's
does back
unable
out
to
a
make it stick.
See if he gets a bit of a better run through the corner.
Yeah, that has brought Eduardo into the race here as well with them for this battle for P13. As Eduardo tries to go down the inside and starts losing the rear. You can see him getting all loose there as the McLaren goes into the back of him. Quite a lot of damage.
As it's all checking up now with cars going 3 wide. I believe that was 10-7.
Yep, so we do look at the Ferrari 296 of, so the McLaren 720S of Salvatore Russo, who was here again for the round 2, is currently now dealing with that front end damage. We're not really sure to what extent that is, but he looks like he's still able to drive the car.
Yeah, it didn't look like there was a specific, incident that needs reviewing there. Just a bit of checking up
drove
as
into the back of him.
the other car
Yeah.
slowed up.
He's back on
As
board
we
with
say
the
that,
leader.
Andrew did get back past Sam there through all of that commotion.
Yeah, looks like he's also built quite a comfortable lead for about a second now over Sam Baird.
Yeah, he's got some clear air now. He just needs to use that, put some lap times down, start catching the pack ahead.
So one of the closest battles at the moment is currently still happening down towards the midfield for P18 at the moment. As we're on board with Eduardo, where Maycol is looking to go around the outside. Even with damage, he's still holding that McLaren together quite well. As there is
we have Ferrari in the wall. And that
Nice.
is just Carstein Habdel lost it under braking. Luckily avoided everyone.
I'm so sorry.
and I believe may have
That's
done
a
an unsafe
penalty
rejoin.
for Carsten. He'll get a drive through. That's okay.
Logan? What the fuck?
Aston, unsafe rejoin. I'm afraid that's a drive-through penalty.
It's George Ward starting P26, now up to P21, so he's finding a little bit of pace as he is right on the tail of Steve Lambert. And 0.2 seconds behind. This is that kind of traditional Ferrari versus Lamborghini's from down start finish straight. I'm not sure George is going to quite have the straight line speed in order to contend into turn 1.
I'm really...
Yeah,
So,
I need to get you on
rejoin
this
happened.
tour.
the rejoin happened, the unsafe rejoin happened, everyone checked up. Then Logan had some contact, which somehow, despite the light contact, ripped his front left wheel off. He then didn't realise it, went into the next corner, went to turn in, went straight and took someone else out. I can't really say that's his fault, he didn't realise his wheel was no longer connected, but yeah, there's some carnage going on.
Jens all the way back down in P27 after starting P14 on the grid. Definitely a bit of commotion, I think. Early on after the restart with Jens, we heard him getting on the radio again.
Yep, unfortunately we weren't able to get the wave rounds done in time. It's a bit of a mistake from our end. I have a feeling that another safety car probably will happen and we'll just do the wave rounds then.
Yeah. As Sam Bed seems to be have towed to the pit after the fight with Andrew. I'm not sure what's happened there.
He just went into the pit lane himself. He was doing his pit stop. As he did that, someone drove into the back of him and spun themselves. That's Gabe Wilmer from Grid Up.
So kind of
Luckily, I
just
think he
looking,
got away with that.
just looking on board with Salvatore Russo here. Still missing out obviously front wing. He's not boxed to get that immediate fast repair. It looks like it's actually holding up a bunch of drivers behind him. There's a 4-second gap between him and the car ahead, with about 4 or 5 cars within a second behind. As Eduardo does
the outside. No room there. See if he gets a better run through this corner. This corner really requires that front end grip, so this is where he's going to be feeling that damage. Eduardo goes up the inside, there's a bit of contact. It's all a bit messy. That's 3 cars in the wall. That's a safety car, I believe.
That looks like an Eduardo to me.
I believe it may be. Do you agree, safety car from that crash?
Safety car, yeah.
Oh, sorry, bro. Sorry.
Let's do safety car.
The yellow flag is out.
Right, let's start with the wave rounds. We know who caused the incident. Let's get... let me know when you're ready for the wave rounds and I'll shout them out to you.
We need to wait a little bit just so the field pack catch up to the pace car and anyone who comes into the pits is coming into the pits. I'm actually going to say that's not on Eduardo.
Really?
Eduardo was fully alongside on the inside of the corner and Salvatore turned in. He had at least 50%
Sorry, that's who I meant.
there.
Salvatore, sorry. My apologies.
Oh,
That's
Salvatore,
with the damage, yep.
There is a bit of netcode involved, but yeah, the rest of the crash.
Checking up on the straight with that stuff.
So as we do, just jump back on with as the safety car does collect Wolfgang Stoffman, still running in P1. I think we need to start thinking about some wave rounds. So
Yep.
Sona Dimitras
And we've just had a big checkup.
You good, Miguel?
Right. Okay.
Holy shit.
Okay.
If anyone causes any more pileups under safety car, it will be an immediate DQ from the session.
He went into the back of them. They were all kind of checking up.
Let's leave a safe distance until the restart, please. Anyone causing incidents under the safety car will be immediately DQ'd.
Alright. Let's get started with waiting rounds.
Yeah, let me quickly do that. Bear with me.
Hey, if your people would actually just drive directly under safety car speed, none of this would happen. Everybody just messing around.
Anyone that does need to box, you can box under the safety car and we will just clear the black flags afterwards. Okay, so are we doing wave rounds? Yep, so Sonna
Yep.
Demertas.
Yep.
David Kujath.
Yep.
Ken Backen. So we are waving through traffic. Please let them by. Stay to the left-hand side of the track. Allow the cars unlapping themselves to pass on the right, please. So yeah, Ken Backen, Jens van der Wiel.
Yep.
Morton Dale. Yep.
Yep.
Karstien Havdal. K-A-R-S-T-I-N.
Yep.
Alfredo Kanji.
Yep.
I believe everybody else has left the session. I'm just checking.
Yeah, I believe everyone else has.
Everybody just hold one side.
All cars to right-hand side of the track. All cars to right-hand side of the track. Cars to pass on the left.
Again, anyone obstructing cars being given the wave around will also be given a drive-through penalty. Keep an eye on your mirrors, guys. I did set the session to be single file restarts as one of the unlapping traffic has also just crashed into the wall. Who is that? Imagine getting a wave round and then crashing after being given the wave round.
Are they still there or did they tow?
They towed.
Why can't you
That's-
just eat space, man? Hey!
Why do we check up so hard?
That's the third time you said. The third time.
Actually, boss man, you were the one that rear-ended me.
Right, so all traffic should be good to go. Let me do the safety car restart. Bear with me. Okay.
So,
Gabe, two incidents under safety car. I get they're checking up. I know it's annoying, but if you see that these guys are obviously checking up more than you expect, you need to leave more of a gap. So I'm afraid the responsibility is still with you.
Okay, so again, we're about to go green for the third time. Safety car jumping into the pits. Wolfgang leading the way. Single file restart.
Green flag, green flag.
He jumps and Pablo Ortiz actually catches with him there as there's a bit of a defensive move going on into the background with Joseph Francis, who seems to have some damage, who I think we issue, bear with me, name a second. Coy Plowman. Actually, no, not Coy Plowman, my bad. I'm just trying to find this one. Wolfgang Busen with the penalty.
Yep,
Drive through. .3k driver of Wolfgang Scott Stoffman, already almost a second gained upon Pablo Ortiz. Daniel Maggioni still in the fight for P2.
Turn 1 incident between Osman and Wolfgang Busen. Incident responsibility Wolfgang Busen.
Wolfgang had damage along the start-finish straight. I'm not sure how that happened, if you can also review that. Okay, let's take a look at some of the other drivers then on the session. So if we jump on now with Coy Plowman driving the Ferrari 296, he's a C-Class rated driver, so C-Class kind of bunched up in here with all the A-Class drivers. It says Corvette going slowly on the inside there. Currently running P8 as someone's also spun. If we can look at what's happened to Osman.
Osman, he's got rear damage, I think he's just gone on his own. Let me double check.
Yeah, so he had damage coming up to that corner.
Yeah, that was from the turn 1 incident.
Okay. Oh yeah, yeah, makes sense. I saw that. Cool, I don't think he impeded anyone with that, so I think we're still good to go racing. I don't know if he's going to leap it back to the pits. There's Andy Fabian currently running P13 after starting P12 on the grid, so he is down one place throughout this so far. Looking to try and chase down Maycole. Another Ferrari 296 for P12, so they're both running wide throughout the exit bus stop there. We've got Jens still trying to make up places down in P20 after starting P14 on the grid. Still trying to catch, I think, the rest of the pack after that wave round. But you never know. We could get another safety car, more yellow flags. We are down to coming up to the halfway marker. Already a lot happened in the first half of this race. I think Jacob's going to need some new fingers and thumbs after this one.
Sorry, I'm mute. They definitely are keeping me busy. A lot of stuff to look at. I'm trying to keep on top of all of it. I think we're doing okay so far. I think the drivers stand in pits now for their refueling stop. Some people coming in early.
Yeah, I think that's the thing as well. All these yellow flag safety cars incidents that are happening around the field, it can become quite easy just to kind of forget where you are in kind of relation to the strategy of the race. I think we saw yesterday a couple of people sort of stumbling into the pits as the fuel tank was sort of spluttering. Maybe that was a miscalculation of fuel, maybe they didn't realise until they'd already gone out onto that sort of last lap of the stint.
I think some people trusting the new Iracing fuel calculator a bit too much when it is brand new and apparently still a bit buggy, so...
Would expect nothing less from for a brand new Iracing release.
Yeah.
So again, Ken Backen joined us for the first time today for one of our hosted sessions. We're currently running down in P21. very large gap between him and the car ahead, and the car behind kind of just hot lapping at this point, unfortunately. Sometimes that's just the way it goes. We've got George Ward 2.1 seconds behind Miguel, both driving the Ferrari 296s.
So we still have a couple of people with black flags waiting to serve them. Gabe hasn't served his yet. See when he wants to serve that, as he is actually fighting for position at the moment. And losing position at the back of the grid in P17. Let's see whether he wants to pit now and serve his black flag. Yep, as he comes in.
So Gabe going through for that drive-through penalty. Not necessarily needing to, or shouldn't be pitting fuel or tyres at this point of the race. We'll need to serve that independently from those standard pit stops. As we look at Daniel Almiron and Eduardo going into bus stop.
And you're running it really deep there. Not a good exit. See whether Eduardo can take advantage of that. He doesn't really get the run through turn 5 that he needed to take advantage of that poor exit from Daniel.
So we also have Sona Dimitras, who started P4 in this race, has ended up down in P16, looking to make a move around the outside of George Ward, dives to the inside. George leaving him, I think, a little bit too much space there, without Sona really getting in alongside him, but I think Sona will have the run down into turn 9, which he does, goes down the inside. I think George just has to give that up, being the...
Sona has a black flag. I can't remember what that was for.
It might be Iracing issued.
Do we need to clear that?
No. It might have been speed in pit lanes or something like that. My session event won't tell me what it is, unfortunately.
He doesn't look like he wants to serve it.
George is coming into the pits now. Is this going to be it's going to be a fuel stop for George. Looks like he is pitting early. George trying something slightly different with the strategy, maybe. As we do jump on board with Gabe Wilmoth, defending off the Porsche 911 of Levi Wolf. Porsche not looking of the quickest here, Watkins Glen.
I don't think it's one of the strongest cars around here. It's a bit of a handful to drive. So I can't see where he got that black flag. I'm not sure if he had to pit under safety car due to damage. Possibly it might be clearing.
He got DQ'd.
For not serving the tyres, do they?
Yeah. So we're just going to jump back on with board with the leader, Wolfgang Stoffgen at the moment, running P1. Pablo Ortiz is managed to close the gap on Wolfgang. It's brought now down to less than a second, 0.7 seconds behind. Just trying to listen on board, see if there's any sort of fuel saving going on here. See if Pablo can maybe go an extra lap long.
Wolfgang really sent that curve there, unsettled the car quite a bit, and that's really given him a poor run through the bus stop. Pablo closing right. As Wolfgang, I think, got a black and white flag for track limits there, so he's now having to serve a slowdown penalty.
And I think we've seen this again for the last couple of races, especially going into turn 1, people realising that they do have a few incident points to play with. throughout this race, which I have reduced down to 25 incident points for a driver for a DQ. Be interesting to see how much they're going to be starting to abuse turn 1, and I think we should keep an eye on that going into the last of this race.
We
Especially
see
with
George
these
Ward
runners.
is disconnected.
Do we know what happened to George?
I am looking.
He's just joined the stream.
Came into the pits and left.
Wolfgang stays out. Pablo does go into the pits, so Wolfgang's going to get the extra lap here. And I don't know whether that's why Pablo was able to close the gap. Maybe he was just doing a little bit of fuel saving just to eke out that extra lap worth of
Pablo,
fuel.
black flag on pit entry.
Yeah, no worries, George. Thanks for taking part there, mate. So Wolfgang probably looking to box this lap. I believe the Ferraris have slightly more fuel under the IMSA regulations than the McLaren does. Interesting to see where Pablo's going to come out in relation to him, even though he does have a black flag, which will be a drive-through for speeding in the pit lane. Jens van der Wiel managed to find his way back up from P20, back up to his starting position now, P14. Make that P13 after taking Pablo in the pits. Still yet to make a pit stop though.
As I think we're starting to see things settle down, there's quite a large amount of carnage at the start of this race, and a fair few cars are now out of the race, so we are left with people who actually want to survive instead of the people who are going to drive and crash. So we'll see whether things start settling down, and hopefully no more safety cars till the end.
Yep, so started with 36 drivers on the field 35 minutes ago. Sorry, almost 40 minutes ago. Where's the time gone? Started with 36 drivers on the field, we're down to 23 through a series of disqualifications and disconnects. But this is round 3 of Watkins Glen, the Refined Motorsport hosted races. We are going to be doing one more tomorrow, which is going to be the final round before we kick off season 3. With IMSA taking on the Watkins Glen for a week, starting on Tuesday. So again, a couple of drivers in the pits. We've seen Morton Dale also has a black flag. Unsure how he's managed that. And again, it's one of those sort of tricky pit entries as well, where you're still trying to push your way around the last corner so you don't impede anybody else trying to get into the pit lane. And it does sort of approach quite quickly. You can see the rear wing at the exit turn 1. I'm not sure what's happened there. Looks like there's an issue with Miguel Caserio. I don't know if you can review that from Miguel in car number 46. Missing the entire rear end of his car. There's Andrew Fabian now up into P3. Still yet to make a pit stop.
That is an incident and a half between Miguel and Salvatore. Miguel lost it in turn 1, spinning across the road. Salvatore comes up to the scene of the accident and drives into the back of him at some great speed. Trying to tell whether that would class as an unsafe rejoin or not. He was still kind of in the process of spinning and not in control of his car.
Did Salvatore have enough time to react and see what was coming, or was it blind and...
Well, he had time to react, but Miguel realistically did not hold the brakes.
Okay, leave that to your better judgment.
Miguel, your brakes were not on that rejoin, and you were just rolling across the track. I get that you were spinning and trying to save it, but that is an unsafe rejoin. That is a stop-go penalty.
As we do have a new leader of this race.
You were rolling across the track and I can't see your brake lights on. I know that you were spinning and I know that you were coming off the inside, but you should have been holding the brakes.
So Daniel Almerion now currently running in P1. It looks like he has made a pit stop. I'm not sure if that was due to into the safety car or whether that is for fuel. We do have a new leader of the race. Wolfgang Stoffman now running 18 seconds, also 28 seconds behind Daniel. So that's likely to be a pit stop needed from Daniel.
Sometimes you see that some of the drivers who have been in incidents in safety car period, they come into the pits and get their repair, but they also get, you know, full tank of fuel, and they end up actually in quite a favourable strategy position, being able to do that pit stop under the safety car, while a lot of people kind of disregard doing their pit stop under the safety car. So I'm unsure whether he'll be able to make it to the end, but you know, it does put him in a good position.
Yeah, I definitely think that's mixed things up. I'm not sure or managed to catch what's happening with Andrew Fabian's strategy in the grid up Ferrari 296. Again,
I think possibly another pit stop under the safety car puts him in a good place. I don't actually know if he had an incident. I think he may have had some damage. Took the opportunity under that safety car to take his pit stop. We'll see whether he has enough fuel to make it to the end. If he does, that's put him in a very good place.
So it does look like Ken Bakken is caught up with some of the traffic that he needs to unlap himself with. It's not been a great start for Ken, unfortunately. Would have loved to welcome him to a much cleaner race than this. And again, I think it's just one of those where we just need to figure out the right format for this going forwards. Jens currently running on his outlap after making his second pit stop of the race. Daniel Almiron diving into the pits now. I think the key focus here is whereabouts is Wolfgang going to come out in relation to him, because I think he was only a few seconds back under Wolfgang's pit stop. So we do have a new leader of the race, sort of temporarily, Andrew Fabian. Working his way down towards, so we're just sweeping right and left hander down towards bus stop. Wolfgang just crosses the line now, so Daniel only now exiting the pits. Wolfgang going to be comfortably ahead after the pit stop. And it does look like, and again I'm not sure if this is by choice, does look like Daniel Almiron did take tyres on the last pit stop.
I mean, you know, we're looking at low track temps. I don't think the tyre wear is going to be that bad. I believe this is under IMSA regulation set. Is that correct, or is this?
Yeah, it is. Yes.
So yeah, they can take tyres whilst refueling, so it shouldn't be any extra time in the pits. It's just whether that new tyre advantage is going to make up for those first couple laps on cold tyres.
So we're currently watching the battle for P3 here with John Amaya, Daniel Maggioni and Antonio Capato, all within a second of each other, looking for that podium position. John Amaya still running in P3 at the moment. It's Joseph Francis looks to defend through Coy Plowman. Coy Plowman tries looking down the inside, but chooses to put down and wait until the next couple of corners. Surely Andrew's got a pit, right? He's not going to want to win this race.
I think so. So he pitted lap 10. I don't think he's going to be able to get enough fuel from lap 10 till the end.
So that'll be a massive amount of fuel saving.
But it may only be a splash and dash, so it could still be looking in a decent position.
Coy Plowman looking to go around the outside of Joseph Francis. Unable to make that stick. Joseph Francis still holding that inside line into bus stop, which I think seems to be the better line from what I've seen from some of the defensive driving that we've seen through there.
Yeah, you really got to be able to, if you're on the outside, you've got to be late on the brakes. You have to kind of almost, not entirely get ahead, but try and almost get ahead on the apex. And then if you can get ahead, you can kind of park it on the apex. It doesn't matter if you're going slow through the rest of the bus stop, because there is not all the time, there isn't enough room to go too wide. So if you can go late on the brakes and keep it on the track, you can then kind of block the car behind and make the move stick.
So just a little bit of a recap on the DQ that we had from Salvatore Russo. That was due to a penalty limit being reached. He reached 25 incident points and got DQ'd from the race. So again, just tightening those sort of boundaries, giving less leeway essentially to off tracks and incidents going forwards. And I think, like, I would be even happy to reduce it a little bit more.
Yeah, especially with some of the carnage that we saw at the start of the race. Maybe it'll have people driving a bit more carefully, but, you know, open lobbies, people will drive how they want to drive.
Yeah. As Daniel Maggioni does look to go down the inside of John Amaya and does tag the rear end of him in doing so. I'm interested to see what's going to happen in terms of, is he going to give that place back? He did look like he slowed down ahead there. Daniel Maggioni has just taken third place. I don't know if you want to be able to review what's happened between P3, 4 and 5 there and see if you can kind of point blame.
I think Daniel was entitled to a room there.
Which Daniel? There's two Daniels, 3 and 4.
Daniel Maggioni and John Amaya seems to be looking at. And yeah, he had at least passed the rear quarter panel on, well, about the rear quarter panel, a bit of netcode involved as well. And John did just kind of turn in like he wasn't there. I'm going to call that a racing incident as well with the netcode involved.
Okay. Who were those two drivers?
That was... Give me a second now. Daniel Maggioni and John Amaya.
Daniel Maggioni and John Amaya. We did review the incident on the previous lap and deemed it to be a racing incident. There's a big accident at the back there. I'm not sure what happened just a little bit further behind.
That is unlucky for Gabe Wilmoth. So Antonio Propato had damage from a spin, which actually was not caused by himself. he hit the wall, pulled over to the side of the road to tow. Gabe Wilmoth then coming through was going wide in that corner to where Daniel was.
2
He
seconds.
towed out the way and then still had contact.
Car 133, Daniel Maggioni, you're going to get a first warning for pushing a car off the track.
I did not see that incident.
Yeah, he was going down to the bus stop and just literally just pushed him onto the grass. He moved over and then eventually just got around him anyway, but a little bit sort of elbows out and just squeezed. So Andrew still running P1 in this race. Wolfgang is slowly closing the gap, now 7.4 seconds behind, 16 seconds after the pit stop. So he could catch him before the end of the race. We've still got just over 9 minutes to go. So trying to look at some of the closer battles that are happening between Wolfgang here and David Kujaf in the Rexy Porsche.
Antonio was on the white line to the right. Daniel are in Swedes for the which took him out of the race. So that is the big right.
Do you know what I'm thinking as well when we go over comms to the drivers to tell them about the penalties is we just tell them they get a penalty, tell them what for, and don't give them much more. Otherwise they can sort of just start arguing with us.
But that's true.
So
If they want to argue, I don't care. I'm not going to listen. As Daniel comes into service back to back.
So Daniel Almirion into the pits. Serve that drive-through penalty. Wolfgang has taken another second as you see him off into the distance behind Andrew. Now 6.3 seconds with 7.5 minutes to go. This could be assuming that Andrew doesn't need to pit at all for any sort of splash and dash, could be a little bit of a last lap shootout. As we look at David Kujaf tucked in nice and closely behind, doesn't go for the move down into turn 1. I think he's saving it to hopefully outpace him on the straights. The Porsche does have much better straight line speed than the Ferrari we've seen.
Coy's still getting a bit of a slipstream from McLaren ahead, so that does negate that straight line factor a bit.
It's almost like the DRS trains that we see in Formula 1.
Yeah, a little bit.
As we do look at Levi Wolf, who has just been passed by Karsten Havdal. Levi Wolf looking to sit in that slipstream, whether he's going to go look for an overtake.
Maybe
But
that
it's nice
Porsche is
and
not got
early.
the straight line speed. That slipstream
maybe
wasn't
not.
doing him much good. Karstein going very deep there though.
So I'm just looking at some of the incident points at the moment. So most amount of incident points on the grid at the moment is Antonio Papato with 23 incident points, 2 more and he gets a DQ. We also have Jens with 17 incident points. Not going to be ideal for him if he gets into any more incidents during the last stint of this race.
As he's coming up to the back of Levi Wolf at the moment, so he needs to keep this clean.
Which I kind of regret giving him that pep talk now. of go and do more. We want to see it. Jens goes to the inside and does cause another incident there.
Yeah,
I think that's a drive-through for Jens by the looks of things.
That's pretty clear cut, isn't it?
Yeah.
Incident responsibility for incident between Jens and Levi goes to Jens drive-through penalty. As he has disconnected from the race.
Jens does.
Yep. But I think he's got out the car.
Nice.
I've seen his car disappear now.
Okay, so yeah, looks like I think Andrew Fabian did need to jump into the pits just for a bit of a splash and dash. Unfortunately, wasn't able to carry that fuel to the end of the race. He's now running down in P4 though. Wolfgang Stofgen back in the lead. Currently set in 1:43.7s, quicker than anybody else on circuit at the moment.
Yeah, whilst he had to make an extra stop, that has still worked out quite well for Andrew, making up some positions and only having to do a really short pit stop at the end.
Yeah, I wonder what he can do the last sort of 5 minutes of this race. It's just over 3.5 minutes now of this race, 6 seconds behind. So close to that as we've got Joseph Francis and Pablo Ortiz. Pablo Ortiz was running P2 at the beginning of this race, looking to try and claw his way back up and get past a few extra cars for a little bit of redemption on some of those positions, as he does go side by side with Joseph Francis through the bus stop. Good racing there, leaving themselves plenty of space. And ultimately, Pablo Ortiz goes through to take P9.
I think that might be the first time we've seen people go side by side through that without killing each other. So I'll take that.
It's really good racing, probably some of the cleanest racing we've seen through bus stop today between those two drivers. So yeah, I think it's been a little bit unfortunate for some of these drivers that have got caught up in incidents today, many due to not being there for it all, and just the stupidity that we see under the sort of yellow flags in these open lobbies. But yeah, I mean, when you hit sort of 20 incident points, 25 incident point cap, it's where you really need to start thinking about how brave you are with the moves, how much risk do you want to take, as we do see Joseph Francis just going a bit off track there, bringing them up to 21 incident points, go down to turn 1, so one more 4x from him, and that will be a DQ from the session.
So coming to the final minute now, I think the gaps have started to spread out a little bit. Everyone being a bit aggressive has taken out some people, thinned out the field. And I think Wolfgang looks like the problem's really under control now with about a 15-second lead.
As he does cross the start-finish line, takes the white flag. So final lap for Wolfgang. Something seriously have to go wrong for, I think, him to lose out on this pole position today. We have still got battles happening down towards the back of the pack. So again, we just jump aboard with Joseph Francis still fighting alongside David Kujath here. Seems to have been pretty much neck and neck for the last 3 or 4 laps.
I have to kind of see what the straight line speed difference between Corvette and the Porsche is. I'm not actually too sure on both of these cars in terms of their straight line performance. Will David be able to get a good slip coming into the bus stop? up ahead of them, we also have Pablo, Ortiz, and Michael very close together. That McLaren does have some good straight line speed. Michael defending well. As they go side by side. Pablo backing out, but getting the better run through the corner. Doesn't quite make it stick.
So as we jump aboard with Wolfgang for the final time as he goes through the last and final corner to cross the checkered flag and takes P1 here at round 3 of Watkins Glen. Daniel Maggioni finishes comfortably P2, 15 seconds behind P1. But a comfortable lead of 6 seconds over the P3 car of John and Maya as he crosses the line as well in that McLaren 720S. Mega performance from Andy Fabian today. The Ferrari 296 grid up livery finishes P4 after starting P12 on the grid. Was looking very promising towards the end of the race. I think it's really good strategy, really good fuel management. I think the strategy and race events as well definitely worked in his favour.
Thank you, guys.
Federico Castellari finishes P5.
Buena carrera, Pablo. Buena lucha. Gracias. Merci, merci.
So I'll say a big thank you to everyone who participated today. Congratulations to Wolfgang Stoffgen, who finishes P1, followed by Daniel Maggioni and P3 John and Maya. We will be running round 4 of the Open Watkins Glen series tomorrow at the same time. If you want the details for that, come and join the Discord. The session link, the Discord link is in the session details when you joined this one. You can come find me on Refined Motorsport over on Twitch, YouTube and TikTok as well, where we broadcast these races with live commentary, and you can see some of the decisions and reasoning behind some of the steward decisions and race control decisions for the race as well. But once again, thank you all for participating in the race, and hopefully we'll see you all again tomorrow.
And thank you guys for making my life really difficult this race.
Good practice.
And no, Andy, no OnlyFans links allowed in chat.
Yeah, big thank you from myself and Jacob Reed as well for tuning into this broadcast. I'm going to end the session there. I'm going to end the stream. Like I say, if you want to come and see when the next session is, come and join the Discord. The Discord link is in all of the profile bios for whichever social media platform you're watching the stream on. And yeah, we'll see you on the next one. Ollie Old School, cheers for joining the race, mate. Koi, as always, thanks for joining again. It was nice to see you here again. Some really great racing that we saw there with yourself and the midfield pack. But yeah, that's it from me, and I will catch you all tomorrow.